What's up YouTube? In today's video, I'm going to do a quick rundown of how Sony this generation has totally killed its competition, whether it's the Nintendo Switch, whether it's the Xbox One. In this case specifically, we're going to focus on how the PS4 has totally destroyed the Xbox One in terms of sales and in terms of popularity. So we'll start off with all the good stuff from the history of how Xbox One was initially revealed back in 2013 compared to the PS4's reveal in 2013 as well, to show you guys who are unaware of where this fanboyism kind of started for this generation specifically, and why Xbox has been struggling and why PS4 has been dominant in the race for sales and popularity. Coming up right after this. Welcome to Tech Savvy Buyer, guys. If you're new to the channel, on this channel I like to do a whole bunch of tech reviews. I like to dive deep into console gaming reviews and compare different systems and all kinds of stuff, all tech related stuff. So if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. It does help the channel grow and it helps me make good content for you. So moving on to the subject of the PS4 versus the Xbox One. I've done a couple of videos in the past declaring which console I would pick over which in terms of gaming, which one's got better performance. So in this case, obviously the One X has better performance than the PS4 Pro. Which one's got the better exclusive games? Again, right here, it goes to the PS4 Pro. And I've also done a pretty decent job at explaining my take on each console individually. So not just comparing with each other, but just going down the features from beginning and to end to show you guys what really makes sense for you. But I wanted to turn this video around and show you guys why exactly this generation PS4 has been the dominant force. Why has Sony PlayStation sold 80 million units already and the Xbox One is just lagging behind despite numerous revisions? So with that, I want to turn around and show you guys a clip from 2013 where Don Mattrick used to be the CEO of Xbox. Right now it's Phil Spencer and he's doing a lot better. But Don Mattrick made a lot of mistakes that some people are aware about and some people are not aware about. One of the big things that really plagued the Xbox One right before its release was the fact that there was a whole stigma associated with the fact that they would not be able to play used games. And when I say stigma, what I really mean is this is what Xbox came out and said. You won't be able to play used games on your console. You just buy a game, install it on the system, you wouldn't need the disc anymore, and it would be digitally attached to your username and your system. You wouldn't be able to share games with any friends that are on Xbox Live, no game sharing whatsoever. You couldn't borrow a game and lend it to someone. And then of course the plaguing thing that a lot of people were really worried about was that you always needed to be connected online. And when asked this question in an interview back in 2013, here's what Don Mattrick had to say.
It's a great line for games. Yeah, and absolutely. I think people are going to love it, and then they're going to understand what we're trying to create and how it links games and entertainment, the functionality of the box, some of the advantages that you get of having a box that is designed to use an online state. So that, to me, is a future-proof choice, and I think people could have arguably gone the other way if we didn't do it, and fortunately we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360, that's your message if you don't, like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device. I mean, seriously, when I read the blogs and thought about who's really the most impacted, there was a person who said, hey, I'm on a nuclear sub. Right. And I don't even know what it means to be on a nuclear sub, but I've got...
So as you can see, they started off really rough, and PlayStation really looked at this as an opportunity to take a leap ahead. And so they started a campaign focusing on, and even in their E3 press conference in 2013, and in individual ads as well, they focused on exactly how they were going to capitalize on all the mistakes that Xbox One was making, given that the user base was going insanely wild, that they did not appreciate the features that the Xbox One was coming out with. And so you could see some of those clips right here as well.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
PlayStation.
In addition to creating an amazing library of new titles on PlayStation 4, we're equally focused on delivering what gamers want most, without imposing restrictions or devaluing their PS4 purchases. For instance, PlayStation 4 won't impose any new restrictions on the use of PS4 game discs. gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever. In addition, PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play. Or for any type of authentication. If you enjoy playing single-player games offline, PS4 won't require you to check in online periodically.
So it's pretty funny to see how PlayStation was taking jabs at Microsoft. Personally, I think it was kind of immature for a big company like that to do something like that, but I think they were trying to get their message across that they've always been focused on the gamers. The mistakes that Don Mattrick made while leading Xbox into the Xbox One was basically that they tried to capture a much more wider audience. So as you know, and this is just basic business sense, and even for my channel specifically, I target specifically gamers. I want gamers to view my channel. I want people interested in consoles and PCs to watch the content that I'm bringing. Similarly, Xbox should have been focusing on just gamers. Instead, what they decided to do was focus on the mass audience. And what I mean by that is the original Xbox One launched with the Kinect. It launched with all kinds of features to help you watch TV more better or improve that experience of watching TV from cable. You've got an HDMI in and an HDMI out, which still exists today. But my point is, there was a huge focus in their entire E3, and you guys can go and click on the video in the description, the link in the description, and you guys can go ahead and research this on YouTube and online. There's tons of evidence out there where the Xbox One was totally focused on nothing but TV. It was actually interesting to see when they did the Xbox One reveal initially back in 2013, how many times in that campaign all they talked about was the media ability, the media capability.
Guess what? They watch TV. It sounds simple and obvious, and it should be, but today it isn't, because that is going to change with Xbox One. Let me show you. Xbox, watch TV. Go to TV. Watch TV.
You can stream DVR, you can control it with your voice, you can do gestures to move stuff around, and you can pause and play and get notifications and Skype. The thing that they did not talk about the most was how does it perform in gaming. And what do you think Sony turned around and did? Sony went and did nothing but gaming and all focused on gaming. That's all they talked about. They talked about what new console titles that they're bringing, how the PS4's performance is going to beat the Xbox One, or and maybe not specifically, but how they talked about their competition and how they plan to get ahead. And of course, like I mentioned, where Xbox One came and did an epic fail of rumors coming about saying that you're not going to be able to play used games, you're going to need to keep your system online all the time. And here's another one. The NSA had full permission from Microsoft to get in access to your systems and be able to turn on your Kinect whenever they wanted to and kind of spy on what's going on, or access your Skype messages, access your gameplay history, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people got really nervous upstart, and that's why today the battle has always been like this, where PS4 is up here and Xbox One is here. It never gained the momentum that was needed. What happened as a result of that? Xbox One CEO at the time, Don Mattrick, decided to pursue other opportunities. People say he was fired, people say he quit. I don't know what the truth is, to be honest, but either way, he left the company and went over to Zynga, which was popular with Facebook's poker, if you guys are aware of that. So he left, and to replace him was the lead of Microsoft Studios at the time, Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer is now currently Xbox One's CEO. So he's done a lot of good stuff with Xbox One. And, you know, as you guys have probably seen, or if you haven't seen in the last revision, if you haven't seen already in the last E3, the thing that Phil Spencer is really focusing on now is first-party development of games, the stuff that's totally plagued the system this entire generation.
Exclusive games from our Microsoft studios are what originally turned so many of us into Xbox fans. My team and I take our commitment to you seriously.
It was a start where power was an issue. The Kinect would take up more than 30% of the resources that were available on the Xbox One console, and that's why games ran and looked better on the PS4 right out the gate. You were getting 1080p resolution versus 900p or 720p on the Xbox One originally. Phil Spencer came on board. Phil Spencer changed that by launching a slimmer version and bringing out the Xbox One S. Now you're getting into competition space with PS4 because you're able to bring in the 4K Ultra HD player. Granted, that's something that the PS4 doesn't have, but they started taking those steps to get a better processor, more rendering, and more focus on games in general. Phil Spencer did a great job with that, and he's still doing a good job with that today. So as you can see, the Xbox One X that launched is the world's most powerful console, as they tout. It does have all the capabilities that it claims it does, with the exception of being full-out native 4K at 60 frames per second across all titles. That's not true. It does do that on certain titles such as Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport, those series. But what I'm trying to say is they at least went into the direction of fixing the hardware, but where they struggled the most is where the games count. And that's what draws people over to an ecosystem of gaming. If I want to go and purchase a game, or if I want to go and purchase a console, I'm going to choose the one where I can get most bang for buck and I can get all the type of games that I'm looking to play. And of course, I say this over and over in all my videos, guys, it's always a subjective experience. What you like might be available on the Xbox One, what you don't like might be available on the PS4, so that leads you to go and make your decision to purchase an Xbox One X or an Xbox One S, whichever one kind of suits your budget and suits your needs. The other cool thing that Microsoft has finally done with this system, as well as not only have they made a system that's a lot more capable and powerful, but they've also started to target getting people from going away into PC gaming by offering a system that if you were to go and build a PC to get that kind of performance, you're looking at spending more than $700-800. I haven't seen a build yet that's $500 or the same price that can deliver the same kind of performance with a 4K Ultra HD drive that an Xbox One X can deliver. And so it's really captured that market. But again, it's struggling with the games. And now with Microsoft's acquisition of 5 studios, of which Undead Labs is one of them, and there's 4 other ones, I can't think of the names off the top, but Undead Labs stuck out to me because of State of Decay 2. Now, PlayStation 4, on the other hand, has been leading the market, as I mentioned, because of the mishaps that Don Mattrick made, because of the mistakes that the Xbox One had made in its launch, and the PS4 just decided to focus on nothing but gaming. So with the original power that they had, it kept them alive and it kept them going strong, not even worrying about the competition at that point. And so they figured out that consoles can only sell so much in a certain generation. And Sony has come out and said that. And so what they're doing now is just innovating. So when I say innovation, I look back in 2016, they released the PS4 Pro and they released the PSVR. 2 different things. So one is a beefed up version of their PS4. They know that they want to stay in the consoles. They got wind that Xbox is obviously going to try and make a stab at getting back into the hardware platform, which eventually they did, but they beat them to the punch. And, some people say that it was a rushed product. Some people say it's not a rushed product. I'm one of those that think it's not a rushed product. I think that they did spend their time in doing it. And frankly, there's a huge difference between both of them. But when it comes down to gaming, when you're enjoying those single party games that were developed for the PS4, they are so phenomenally made. They are so beautiful. And you can tell that the developers really did take that time and effort to utilize all the horsepower that's available to them in the PS4 system, or in this case, in the PS4 Pro. So granted that even the Xbox One X has more power, the PS4 Pro just has better developers making games that look good on it. So there are multiple articles out there that really share what Sony's leadership has decided to do. And they knew that with the declining amount of sales going on for the PS4, you kind of peak up and then you start to level and then go down. And now they're on the downwards trend. So we've already given people hardware, and this is what Sony leadership has said. Like, a lot of people already have our hardware, they have our PS4s, they have our PS4 Pros. Let's give them a reason to keep it and play on it. And they invest in all these first-party studios. They invest in all these different titles that are coming out that have just been creaming the competition because of the amount of popularity that they are. Now, that doesn't mean that Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War are overall the best games that are made in the world, because like I said before, gaming is subjective. If somebody likes it, it's not necessary that everyone likes it. But sales figures have proved that there are a lot more people that actually prefer those single-player campaign games that PS4 is constantly pumping out over the exclusives that are available on the Xbox One X. Cross-platform, since they're available on each, I'm not going to say that they're better on the Xbox One X in terms of sales versus they're better on the PS4 Pro and versus of sales. I haven't done the research on that, but it's safe to assume that given that there's more PS4 Pros and PS4s, combined, there's more PlayStation 4s in people's houses versus Xbox Ones, be it whichever generation they're from. The sales I know are leading roughly 2 to 1. That, that's what industry experts say. That Microsoft hasn't released any sales figures since 2015, and that's kind of worrisome. But looking at all the different launches that they did and trying to come back, now I'm hopeful to see what happens next generation, and I think that Sony has understood that Xbox is playing the hardware game. Microsoft has understood that Sony is playing the software game. And it's going to be an interesting matchup come next generation. I'm really excited to see what goes on. But I didn't want to get into too much detail. I really wanted you guys to see why Xbox is struggling. And to really summarize it, it's because they had a very, very rough start. Don Mattrick is probably the worst thing that ever happened to Microsoft for this generation. Phil Spencer is still cleaning up today. And because of that, the PlayStation has just gone far beyond. And even though after 3 attempts and 3 different systems that have come out, Xbox is finally starting to get back on its legs. It's starting to make a comeback, as people like to say. It's interesting to see what's going to happen in the next generation of gaming. Well, guys, that brings me to the end of this video. Again, if you liked my content and if you enjoy the videos I put out, go and hit that like button and go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. If this is something that you disagree with, or if you feel like I didn't give you all the information that you possibly know, go ahead and leave a comment below. I like to engage with you guys, and I'm always open to hearing stuff as I improve my videos and as I improve the content that I share with you all. So until then, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you all on my next one.